Howdy. While some people are on the fence as to whether modern SpongeBob has gotten any better in quality, modern SpongeBob has consistently gotten weirder. But with weirdness comes creativity, and it's a fine excuse for me to talk about Spongy. So let's check out the 10 weirdest modern SpongeBob episodes. To keep it modern, I'll try and stick to seasons 10 plus. Anyway, on to the countdown. For number 10, Karen's Virus. Karen's normally the most straight-laced, down-to-earth character in the show. So what happens when she's infected by a computer virus? Well, insanity runs amok.
Nonsense, I'm the fastest computer alive. alive.
So SpongeBob has to go inside Karen's world, into a bizarre clay-like CG world of circuit boards, perplexing doppelgangers, and gargantuan dragon viruses. Here in Karen's world, SpongeBob discovers that Plankton's actually quite caring and heroic, and Squidward is, well, that.
I hate everything.
That's how Karen sees Squidward.
I don't really know what he is, but he's certainly interesting to look at. He looks pretty tasty, actually, or is that just me? Oh, you think so too, Boo? Yeah, I guess he would go good with caramel topping, eh? Yeah, kind of bubblegum sundae. Anyway, even in regular Bikini Bottom, Karen is a drunken, befuddled mess, causing mass chaos across the town. I was actually surprised how epic this episode ended up being. Watching SpongeBob venture through Karen's circuitry and have a one-on-one showdown with the virus itself. The whole thing really had me at the edge of my seat. By the way, about this dragon virus, what are we actually looking at here? Is it claymation or CG? I don't know, but it looks really cool.
You poor, ugly, disgusting little virus.
I love these bizarre backgrounds too. How different and fresh does this look for the show? In 12 years of SpongeBob, I can't remember ever seeing anything quite like this. It's this affectionate homage to video game style animation, with a bit of 3D CG thrown in as well. And it surprised me how much I'd like to see more of this style. Karen's Virus is most definitely weird, but it's also one of my favorite episodes of season 11, and I'd certainly recommend it. Number 9. Doodle Dimensions. So I think we can say we've seen the SpongeBob animators draw more than a few episodes. How about if we just let Spongy draw an episode? An incoherent, befuddled, completely nonsensical episode. So Sandy, despite demonstrating she's intellectually gifted and knowledgeable enough to create a portal to any dimension in the known universe, starts the episode by leaving SpongeBob and Patrick in charge of a dimensional portal to any place in the universe. And honestly, after 12 years of knowing these two, what did she think was gonna happen? And what do you know?
Definitely don't do this, SpongeBob. Or this!
Spongy and Patrick activate a portal to an unknown universe. So Sandy does the smart thing and asks them not to walk into it. You get one guess what they're gonna do next.
Walk into it!
Can we skip into it?
I could nitpick that SpongeBob's being made uncharacteristically stupid again, but let's just jump ahead to the main weirdness. SpongeBob and Patrick are essentially thrown onto the drawing desk and enter a world of badly drawn doodles, literally drawing an entire episode around them. But wait, is that the dreaded Doodle Bob?
Patrick, I'm right here.
And somehow he manages to up the weirdness of this episode even further. Want an example? See, Doodle Bob hugs Patrick, then goes inside Patrick, then transforms into many tiny Doodle Bobs and starts biting him. What? This is both strange and horrifying. And from here, story and basic plot coherence continue to break down further, until finally we're left in an unknown dimension of nothingness, watching SpongeBob and Doodle Bob duke it out with pencil drawings. But once again, as off the wall as it is, I really like this episode. It reminded me of that episode Sandcastles in the Sand, for the sheer creativity that just comes from so little. SpongeBob and Doodle Bob use all their ideas to rematch in the greatest doodle battle of the ages, or at least of the paper. I always appreciate nowadays when modern SpongeBob episodes leave me with no idea what to expect next, and that's exactly what the Doodle Dimension did. It's a thoroughly fun, unpredictable episode.
Tastes weird.
Yeah, they are a little dry.
And for number 8, Krabby Patty Creature Feature. I originally put this as the absolute creepiest SpongeBob episode, but I felt like it'd be a crime to not put it on this list, because what is weirdest about this episode is not the monstrosities appearing before us. It's the tone. I just can't figure this thing out. Is it a zombie apocalypse parody, or is it just a straight up horror parody? Or is the whole thing just some twisted commentary about the fast food industry? Half the time, the tone is really dark and it's taking itself strangely seriously. But hey, it's weird and interesting, so let's check it out together. So it turns out Krabs has a secret lab, wherein he performs wicked experiments upon burgers.
You think this is mad? Ooh, wait till you see.
Howdy, SpongeBob!
With good old Sandy helping him out. You see, she's moonlighting as a molecular gas delicold...
I'm a ladder in the gas and wireless.
What do you call it again, Sandy?
Molecular gastronomist.
Right, I guess you, thank you. Then they make this very odd floating orange patty, which they simply title the new improved Krabby Patty. And who can blame them? Who wouldn't want to try that? Ugh. Unfortunately, things don't go down too well. Soon the entire city is turned into ravenous, monstrous burger zombies. Some strange combination of not quite fish and not quite living Krabby Patties. Ugh. And lucky us, we get to see the entire bizarre transformation. Which brings to question, did they never even taste test the stupid things? Even the most shady of fast food joints will at least taste test their burgers. But I guess I'm asking for logic from SpongeBob, which is always a self-consuming snake. Both the visuals and audio of this one is such a fascinating, unpredictable mess. I've rewatched this episode a lot, and every time I do, I find myself carefully listening to try and decipher the guttural rumblings and murmurs these Burko-Batty burger zombies make. And I can't help but think the voice team must have had a lot of fun making the burger zombie sounds for this one.
No.
Anyway, no matter how many times I look at Krabby Patty Creature Feature, I can never fully grasp what I'm actually looking at in tone. But I can certainly recommend to check it out at least once, to at least have a sample of the burger zombie madness for yourself.
Oh, my cranium.
Number 7. Sanitation Insanity. It was inevitable that one day the trash apocalypse would occur. Krusty Krab and everywhere within a 500-meter radius was consumed by stinky garbage. As a result, we watched what I can only call a trashy episode. I know I use that word a lot, but it really is here. Almost all of what we see in this episode is just tons and tons of trash, along with SpongeBob and Squidward using a garbage truck to smash into even more trash. It's a dirty garbage episode. And I mean that in the best way possible. You see, Krabs gets in trouble for not using enough trash bags and has to clean up all the trash in the city. In other words, he has Spongy and Squidward do it. Alright, another Squidward and Spongy team-up adventure. Kinda reminds me of Pizza Delivery in Season 1. On a side note, if there's one thing we've learnt doesn't ever pass in Bikini Bottom, it's littering and unhygienic standards. While in our own world, being a trash collector isn't considered a particularly flashy job, in Bikini Bottom the trash collectors are treated with great respect and honor. In fact, they double as judges able to carry out sentences on citizens. Even not separating your trash is considered a great crime in Bikini Bottom. No wonder the place normally looks so spick and span. Oh, and another fun detail, look what a great advertisement this is for hand sanitizer.
No, wait, don't. I wish you would. Oh, hey, that's not too bad.
What a timely little reminder of how useful the stuff will be in the years to come. But hold on to your socks, because this garbage incarnate is about to get kinda bizarre.
I want to destroy you.
What the?
You see, the duo picked up a possessed garbage doll that tries to kill Squidward, followed by the trash compactor turning into a Mighty Morphin Trash Arranger Trashazord. Well, points for creativity, because I definitely didn't see that coming. I really do get a kick out of these modern seasons. How cool is it to finally see another adventure with Spongy and Squidward? And just like in the old days, Squidward's just kind of going along with the adventure and making the most of it with SpongeBob. At times, he actually seems to be enjoying himself in this difficult situation. This topsy-turvy trash adventure gets my thumbs up. Number 6. Gary's got legs. Why, yes he does. It's downright bizarre, because this episode shows us Gary's true colors if he were to ever get limbs. And those colors aren't particularly pretty. So it turns out Gary could get legs all along. All Spongy had to do was pull off his own legs and give them to Gary. But don't worry, he can just regrow them, because he's Spongy.
This'll only hurt for a second.
But as I mentioned, what's weirdest is we get to see this whole new side of Gary. Like, it feels like there's this hidden sociopathic drive to Gary that we never saw before. As a slug, he's pretty docile and harmless. As a biped, he's ferocious and goes around on a massive kicking spree. In fact, he takes down half the town in his kicking frenzy. And for some reason after this, SpongeBob decides it'd be a brilliant idea to give Gary arms too. And wouldn't you know it, the first thing Gary does is strangle the eyes of SpongeBob before continually punching him. Why?
Move those arms.
Fortunately later on, they do seem to get along better. But soon, after one weekend of pampering, SpongeBob's arms and legs waste away to nothing. For those wondering, another fun term to this process is called atrophy, the wasting away and breakdown of tissue and cells. In this case, due to not using them for a weekend. As you may have guessed, this is not anatomically accurate.
A whole weekend of pampering has left my limbs in limbo.
So Gary takes Spongy's place at the Krusty Krab, sliming up the joint, while SpongeBob has become that. Again, it's like in 2 days tops. Kinda reminds me of that early season Snail Plasma episode, where Spongy and Squidward are turned into snails. But with a little support from Krabs, things jump back into action by the end.
Mr. Krabs.
But we certainly got a very strange episode here. And it did get me rethinking Gary's character a little bit.
I can always use an extra hand.
All right, that's enough SpongeBobbery for today, boyo.
And for number 5, Dream Hoppers. Honestly, this one was a no-brainer for the list. The second I saw it, I knew it had to be here. What could we really expect when SpongeBob visits the strings of consciousness of his bikini-bottom friends? Yet alone his own bonkers subconscious. So I'll do my best to narrate this thing in a coherent form, but no promises it'll make sense. In his dream, Spongy's working on an assembly line, making, you guessed it, Krabby Patties. This leads to him making Krabby Patties that have a living consciousness. These Krabby Patties then start jumping out of a plane on a conveyor belt. Spongy falls out of said plane, landing in a cloud. But then a Krabby Patty hijacks the plane, and it just goes on like this. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, sophisticated, creative animation, all accompanied by a nice classical overture. But all of this makes zero sense. And this nice concerto of classical music in the background really gives the whole thing a touch of class. Who says a fry cook can't be classy? This rocks. But my biggest question is, what in the flying spaghetti monster's name is this? Well, personally to me, from my own experience in psychology, it looks like the end of an axon, maybe a dendrite. Basically the tiny connective tissue of our brain matter. But that's just my personal guess, I could be way off. But we get a little insight later as the duo appear to be in Patrick's mouth, and things are somehow about to plummet into even weirder territory. You see, they're falling down Patrick's esophagus, filled with tiny eyeballs. And then they meet the insides of Patrick's guts. Apparently he's been eating soap bottles and toothbrushes. Why am I not even remotely surprised at that? So just to get you up to speed, we're now watching SpongeBob and Patrick boogie it up with the pre-digested contents of Patrick's meals. Did you get that? Good, because I sure didn't. What is going on here? You know, we could keep noveling at the pure insanity of what lies before us, and I assure you there is more, but I think you get the picture. Dream Hoppers is a truly unique SpongeBob episode, and it's always a treat to get a little adventure like this. And for the 4th weirdest modern SpongeBob episode, King Plankton. Does anyone else remember sea monkeys? Those tiny brine shrimp became such a huge thing in the 80s and 90s. I had some as a kid too. before they ate themselves. Ugh. Anyway, it turns out Spongy had a society of little fellas, and he asked Karen to take care of them while he's at work. Apparently Gary's been trying to eat them. But Plankton sees the monkeys, and being the uniquely thinking individual he is, he decides to shrink himself down even smaller than he already is. The reason, in his own words,
Maybe I should start small and work my way up.
soon Plankton is bullying his way through the strange alternative miniature world and taking over. At first, things seem to be going suspiciously well for him. And by well, of course, I mean absolutely horrible for everyone else. And like you might be expecting, this leads to the monkeys sacrificing him. Sacrificing him to what, you may ask? Well, at first I thought it might be Gary, because Spongy mentioned that Gary was trying to eat the sea monkeys earlier. But it turns out Patrick's trying to eat them because, well, he's Patrick.
Patrick! It was you trying to eat my sea chimps the whole time.
Honestly, I don't personally find Plankton that interesting a character, so I tend to skip Plankton episodes. He kinda has the same shtick over and over, it just gets boring to me. But even to me, this was an interesting, odd little episode with a fun concept. Miniature cartoons and worlds is far from an original idea, but I think the SpongeBob team executed it well.
You rule.
Not today, SpongeBob. Not today.
Number 3. Feral Friends. Hey, look who's back. It's Patchy and Potty. They've sailed over Bikini Bottom to witness some sort of special event. One that only happens once every 100 years. With his telescope, he spots Spongy and the crew at Sandy's birthday party, where a mysterious green moon has risen from the volcano, casting this eerie glow across Bikini Bottom. Everyone except Sandy seems mesmerized by this strange green moon. Then suddenly it turns every sea creature into accurate portrayals of their species. What?
SpongeBob? Patrick?
Ever wanted to see the Bikini Bottom crew anatomically correct? Yeah, me neither, but I guess we got it anyway. And not only that, but they're also behaving like their actual marine species. It's like suddenly we have this whole show turned into a reality sea documentary.
Observe how the hungry sea star ejects his own stomach from his body in order to eat his meal.
And you know what's distinctly different about reality sea documentaries to Bikini Bottom? Sea animals eat each other, ferociously, without any sort of remorse.
Life is hilariously cruel.
Krabs, for example, who is now a crab, gets attacked repeatedly, and soon the entire crew is defenseless prey in danger of being eaten. Except for Pearl, because, you know, she's a whale. So Sandy has to single-handedly rescue her friends from this really odd event. But just as all seems lost, Sandy pulls the ultimate emergency procedure. She calls her final ace in the hole. She calls the live-action French narrator, so Tom Kenny.
Hey, Frenchie! It's me, Sandy!
Sandy cheeks, how is it hanging?
Even Patchy gets his comeuppance for being a sticky beak. Pearl almost eats him. It's one downright bizarre, but certainly interesting episode. And the only episode where you'll see every main character except Sandy buck naked.
How come your tree dome is broken and everyone's naked?
Well, SpongeBob, let's just say this has been the most interesting birthday I ever had.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible. By the way, this Patchy ending segment is just fantastic. It's so good to see Tom Kenny getting dressed up as a pirate again. But I won't spoil it for you. If you get a chance, I definitely recommend checking out this episode. Number 2. Cuddle E Hugs. I tried not to mention this episode again, I really did. It's not a very good episode. But it really would be a disgrace not to add it to the weirdest modern episodes list. I mean, who honestly really goes to the board meeting at Nickelodeon headquarters and says, hey, you know what should happen on SpongeBob today? A mass hallucinating orgy, with some bizarre sensual undertones mixed in, all revolving around a giant talking hamster monster. A hamster monster that then goes on to eat them. That's not a SpongeBob episode, that's a SpongeBob creepypasta turned aero fanfic. I mean, doesn't the introduction music alone tell us all we need to know here? It sounds like a giant pink elephant is about to parade out of my monitor. Shouldn't I have been run over by elephants now? What's the whole... There it is. There are just so many questions here. Why is everyone in Bikini Bottom so enthusiastic about eating these revolting green moldy patties? Didn't Nasty Patty teach SpongeBob anything?
Unlike you, they never ate the magic sandwich. Why, the one that's as fuzzy as me, of course.
Ew? And most importantly, what even is this thing? And no judgment, but why does everyone hallucinate this giant creepy hamster? And then want to rub themselves all over it in utter bliss? Is marine wildlife just really into giant hamsters? I don't know. And wherever this thing goes, this weird tarantula pink elephant music follows it.
Be sorry, SpongeBob. I'm your best friend.
But when you see this scene alone, I don't know what else can be said.
Sorry I'm late, back to bed.
And easily, I think the #1 weirdest modern SpongeBob episode is SpongeBob in Random Land. Alright, now we can take a closer look at this thing, because apparently SpongeBob wasn't a weird enough show before. So the creators decided to make Random Land. Where to begin? So the Krusty Krab receives a delivery to said Random Land. Squidward is hesitant, but Krabs, being Krabs, states that even if the basic laws of physics and nature don't apply to Random Land,
Don't mean the Krusty Krab won't attempt to take their money.
but how do they actually get to said Random Land? I thought if it was actually in Bikini Bottom we would have seen it by now. But this bizarre void of pure, concentrated incoherence can only be reached by walking around randomly.
You just walk around randomly.
I am dead serious. That is Krabs' explanation on how to get there. So the duo walk around randomly trying to get to Random Land. It's the most silly, nonsensical idea I've ever heard them do, but it works.
Don't give it to
Soon the two find themselves in the weirdest place you will ever see in SpongeBob. And I say the weirdest even after seeing Squidward in Clarinet Land. And from the moment we step into this random, completely nonsensical, unpredictable place, we are indeed greeted by complete randomness.
Well, here we are in Random Land. Sure is for that.
This dimension will take on unpredictable shapes and forms, completely disregarding any sense of physics or logic. What form, shape, size, or direction will SpongeBob and Squidward go or be? Will they even be in a physical form? Or turn to liquid maybe? Who knows? All we know is it will definitely be random. Even their speech is jumbled up. Quite cleverly though.
That Patty Krabby belongs to the order who personed it.
I also really enjoy the soundtrack to this place. It's very unique and different.
Of course.
Anyway, it turns out our two friends aren't the first people to get lost in this completely backwards dimension. Unable to figure out where the address they were given actually is, they do the next best thing.
Why don't we just arbitrarily knock on doors?
I gotta admire Squidward's determination in this one. Like sanitation insanity or pizza delivery before it, Squidward's just working through the process, dealing with whatever comes next as best he can, while SpongeBob somehow seems to be actively enjoying this whole experience. I tend to wonder if this episode is just a collection of all the bogus, nonsensical, non-usable ideas the animators have had over the years. And 10 years later, they just dump them all into Random Land. Whatever the case, I think this is a must-see for any long-running fans of the show. It's just so different. There's no SpongeBob episode like it. And every time I watch it, I notice some interesting tiny new detail. It's full of Easter eggs like that. It's overall just a pleasant, not-so-traditional SpongeBob Squidward adventure. But you know what comes from all this weirdness? Unpredictability. And after all these years, I've come to really appreciate shows that leave me guessing. And modern SpongeBob is one of those cartoons that still does that for me. It's impressive that even 12 years later, these episodes are a melting pot of creativity. For all the flack that's hurled at modern SpongeBob, SpongeBob has given me more laughs in the last couple of years than many of the other cartoons I watch. And that's unfortunately a lot more than I can say for many other long-running shows. Anyway, if you think I missed a particularly weird late-season SpongeBob episode or have your own thoughts on these episodes, feel free to leave your own thoughts in the comments below. And also, thank you very much for 500,000 subscribers. It's a true honor to have gotten this far. I hope I can keep making videos that you might enjoy every now and then for a long time yet. Hopefully I've made a couple of videos in my library you might enjoy. And as always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.